Good morning. We continue with our grammar. We have been doing quite a bit in the past few days. We have already done what are prepositions, what are maybe different kinds of grammatical categories that go into a sentence, sentence correction. We have done a lot of that. Today we will be doing clause, because I thought this is an integral part of grammar and something that all of us know. We have done this, but when the time comes, we do not recall it. So, what is a clause after all? So, clause is a group of words that includes a subject and a verb. That is the primary definition. It is a group of words that includes a subject and a verb, not necessarily complete. Okay? Clause is different from a phrase which may not contain a subject and a verb. So, phrase need not or does not, okay, but clause is a sentence in itself, or at least a part of a sentence. An independent clause expresses a complete thought. It is a standalone sentence. Meera drank coffee after breakfast. Meera is the subject, drank is the verb, coffee is an object. So, full meaningful sentence in itself. It is a simple sentence, okay? And after breakfast is a clause that adds to it. A dependent clause is a supporting addition to an otherwise clause complete sentence, and it cannot stand by itself as a meaningful proposition or as a meaningful sentence. So, what I am trying to tell you is that we have to look out for what is the category, and if part 1 matches part 2. The first part matches the second part if there are clauses. Meera drank coffee after breakfast. After breakfast is not to make a sentence, but adds meaning to the first clause. When, or Meera drank coffee at the cafe. So, where? So, it adds meaning. Even Meera drank coffee is enough. We understand she drank coffee, but when and where, with whom. So, all these add to the meaning of the sentence. So, we have to understand that after breakfast at the cafe with her friends, they are dependent clauses, add meaning to the first part. There are 3 kinds of clauses: noun, adjective, adverb. A noun clause behaves like a noun. What she wore to a party, okay? I cannot remember. I cannot remember what she wore to a party. So, it is a noun. Adjective clause, my daughter or my son who loves to have chocolate, refused to have chocolate today. So, who is an adjective performing the role of describing the person. The noun, daughter or son, they do not like chocolate or ice cream or whatever. So, this is a qualifier. Today they refuse to have it. But who loves generally to have chocolate or ice cream or whatever. Adverb clause, he lost his memory after the accident. So, this what does it mean? How did he lose his memory? After the accident. So, when? Adjective clauses are sometimes called relative clauses. Relative clauses refer to those clauses that add information to the sentence by using relative pronouns like who, whom, which, whose, and also that. That can also, that is a tricky one. What is a tricky one? It can also stand for noun, what she wore at the party, okay. So, here that is a noun. What I meant by this, here it is a noun clause, but when I say that person who we were talking about is here, that is a noun clause. But this in another sentence, a lemon is a fruit that is yellow in color. This is an adjectival clause. So, you should understand the meanings. Korean is a person who is from Korea. So, who is an adjective. Now, the dog was brown, the students filed into class, the book was on the table. You know, these are predicates. Predicates adds to the reader's knowledge of the subject. We also have simple, compound classifications as simple, compound and complex sentences. All these things are basic categories, basic grammar, all these things you should know I want you to repeat and revise these things very often, because in competitive exams, when such questions come in front of you, come before you, they are quite tricky. You need to have a very strong control over these categories. It is very easy to get confused. A simple sentence, Meera drank coffee. Okay. Lisa was playing football. So, a compound sentence consists of two complete clauses. Lisa was playing football and Meera was having coffee. And is the connector. It's a compound. And is the connector. We will be doing connectives also soon in detail. So, don't panic even if you do not know, but words like and but and as well as these are connectors, they connect sentences. So, you have to understand how this whole category works. A complex sentence, this is difficult. Okay? Now, difficult in the sense, sometimes people, in order to use complex sentences, they start making a lot of mistakes. Mistakes in the sense that they start in a certain way and they mix up certain other categories, and there is a lot of melange of various things happening here, and they end up making mistakes here. So, complex sentence, one independent clause, one dependent clause. They are generally joined by a conjunctive adverb like more or less or nevertheless or all in all or although or however, etc. Although it was hot, Lisa was playing football. Although is a category. So, although it was hot, so Lisa was playing it. You can't say although it was hot, Lisa is playing football. Remember, coordinate conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet. So, these are the common, but then there are more complex words also. So, now here I am going to give you a list of sentences. Please look at the slide. This is an exercise, sentence identification, simple, compound, complex. First sentence, the training rooms of these college athletes smell of grease and gasoline. Their practice field is a stretch of asphalt and their heroes make a living driving cars. Their tools are screwdrivers and spanners rather than basketballs and footballs. Next, please look at it. This new brand of college athlete is involved in the sport of auto racing. Next sentence, most of the students are engineering majors and they devote every minute of their spare time to the sport. Okay, and next is, although the sport is new, it has already attracted 6 collegiate teams in the south. Next sentence, the students work on a special car designed for their sport. The cars are called legend cars, models of Fords and Chevys from 1932 to 1934, and they are refitted by the students with 1200 cc motorcycle engines. Although their usual speed ranges from 50 to 90 miles an hour, legend cars can move up to 100 miles an hour on a straightaway. The Saturday morning races of the competing teams have attracted as many as 3,500 fans, but the students concede they are no threat to the nation's fastest growing sport of stock car racing. What are these? What kinds of sentences are these? So, let us discuss the answers now. First sentence, the training room of these college athletes smell of grease and gasoline. So, is it a compound? Where is the connector? Okay. Training rooms of these college athletes. This is a whole subject. Smell of. So, a smell of what? Of this and that. It's a simple sentence. Their practice field is a stretch of asphalt, and. So, and is a dead giveaway. Their heroes make a living driving cars. It's a compound sentence. And next one, there again look at it carefully. It may look a little lengthy, but is it a complex one? Their tools are screwdrivers and spanners. Don't get confused by that tricky and. Here it's not joining two parts of a sentence. Therefore, it's not a compound. It's a simple sentence. This new brand of college athlete is involved in the sport of auto racing. Very clear. This is a demonstrative, it's a simple sentence. There is no compound, no complex. Most of the students are engineering majors, and now see, most of the students are engineering majors. It's a complete sentence by itself. They devote every minute of their spare time to their sport. It's a complete sentence, and joined by and compound. It's a compound sentence joined by and. And next one was a complex, dead giveaway, the marker although, coordinator although the sport is new, etc., etc. It has already attracted 6 collegiate teams in the south. It's a complex sentence. Seventh one, the students work on, it's not students who work on special cars designed for their sport are very diligent. It's not like that, it's a simple sentence. And then you have those longish sentences. The cars are called legends cars, models of Fords and Chevys from 32 to 1934, and they are refitted by the students with 1200 cc motorcycle engines. It's a compound sentence. And then next one, although, so it's a complex sentence. Although their usual speed ranges from 50 to 90 miles an hour, legends cars can move up to 100 miles an hour on a straightaway. The Saturday morning, last one I am doing, Saturday morning races of the competing teams have attracted as, but, now but is a dead giveaway. The students concede there are no threats to the nation's fastest growing sport of stock car racing. This is the compound sentence. 2 sentences of equal standing are joined together using a coordinator but. Now look at this exercise. Clause identification, dependent or independent. Catherine read a novel before she went to bed. I don't like potato, all the ones in highlighted in red. You have to identify that. If you go now, you can meet her. I want a haircut. Number 5, she is very fit because she goes swimming in the pool daily. 6, when I lived in Paris, I drank wine daily. I know why he was absent last class. 8, we decided to have the party outside although the sky was cloudy. And before you leave work, you should meet Mr. Verma. Since the weather was bad, we had dinner at home. And the answers are, Catherine read a novel before she went to bed. Catherine read a novel is independent. I don't like potato is an independent simple sentence. If you go now, what does it mean? What will it do if you go now? It's a dependent clause. I want a haircut, it's an independent one. She is very fit because she goes swimming in the pool. So, she is very fit is okay, but because she goes, it requires something else. So, that is a dependent clause. When I lived in Paris, I drank wine daily. I drank wine daily is the independent. When I lived in Paris is dependent. 7th, I know why he was absent last class is, I know is independent. We decided to have the party outside, that was the highlighted, that is independent. Although the sky was cloudy is dependent. And before you leave work, that is a dependent clause. Since the weather was bad, we had dinner at home is independent. I can give you some more examples. Now, listen to me, some of the sentences. Anita, who graduated from Smith College last year, is working on a project. So, what is it? Who graduated from Smith College or whatever college, it is an adjectival clause. My greatest fear is growing sick, it is a noun clause. I will stay in the home until you arrive, time, so adverb. The movie, see all these are clauses, there is no doubt about that. The movie was better than I expected it to be, it is an adverbial clause, comparative degree. Better than I expect it to be. Real challenge is how we are going to satisfy a client. This is a noun clause. A sentence like the person who took my order forgot to bring me my drink, adjective. And if Lisa wants to come along, she can meet us at the theatre. It's an adverb, a conditional if. A sentence like the house which received fire damage as insurance, has had extensive renovations. This is an adjectival clause. He didn't realize that the stove was off, a noun clause. So, I am just giving you a series of examples how these things work. Smith, where that was Smithsonian, where there was a fire last year, is now back to normal. So, where is denoting a place, where there was, it's actually qualifying the place. So, it's an adjectival, not an adverb. Now, look at the slide here. This is an exercise, answer using who, which or whose. First one, I talked to the girl dash car had broken down in front of the shop. Second, Mr. Richards dash is a taxi driver, lives on the corner. We often visit our aunt in Norwich, dash is in East Anglia. This is the girl dash comes from Spain. There's Peter, the boy dash has just arrived at the airport. Thank you very much for your email, dash was very interesting. The man dash father is a professor, forgot his umbrella. The children dash shouted in the street are not from our school. The car dash driver is a young man, is from Ireland. What did you do with the money dash your mother lent you? I will give you the answers. I talked to the girl whose car had broken down in front of the shop. Mr. Richards, who is a taxi driver, lives on the corner. We often visit our aunt in Norwich, which is in East Anglia. This is the girl who comes from Spain. That's Peter, the boy who has just arrived at the airport. Thank you very much for your email, which was very interesting. The man whose father is a professor forgot his umbrella. The children who shouted in the street are not from our school. The car whose driver is a young man is from Ireland. What did you do with the money which your mother lent you? So, which. Now, look at this slide and form relative clauses. For example, the first one is done for you. Nigeria is a country in Africa, it is by the coast. Nigeria, which is by the coast, is a country in Africa. We spent our holiday in Scotland last year. Scotland is in the north of Great Britain. Start your sentence with last year we. Second, people live in Scotland, they are called Scots. Start your sentence with the people. Next one, we first went to Edinburgh. Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. Start your sentence with we first. Fourth, Arthur Conan Doyle was born in Edinburgh. He wrote the Sherlock Holmes stories. Arthur Conan Doyle dash. Then we visited a lake, it is in the Highlands, the lake dash. Loch Ness is 37 km long. People know it for its friendly monster, Loch Ness. There we met an old man. He told us that he had seen Nessie, an old man dash. Next one. We then traveled to a mountain, the eighth one. The mountain is near the town of Fort William. We then dash. Next one. The mountain is the highest mountain in Great Britain. It's called Ben Nevis, the mountain. I sent you a postcard. It was written on the summit of Ben Nevis, the postcard. Let's do the answers now. First one would be last year we spent our holidays in Scotland, which is in the north of Great Britain. Second, the people who live in Scotland are called Scots. I hope you are getting all these answers. We first went to Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland. Fourth, Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes stories, was born in Edinburgh. Fifth, the lake we then visited is in the Highlands. Sixth, Loch Ness, which people know for its friendly monster, is 37 km long. An old man we met there told us that he had seen Nessie. Eighth one, we then traveled to a mountain which is near the town of Fort William. 9, the mountain which is the highest mountain in Great Britain is called Ben Nevis. 10, the postcard I sent you was written on the summit of Ben Nevis. So, 3 kinds of clauses: noun, adjective, adverb. Now, why do you need to understand these clauses? Understand that even when you do your writing practices, it is just not enough that you have the right vocabulary or you have enough ideas. You need to use a variety of simple, compound and complex sentences for your writing. Remember, this is no longer an 8th grade kind of a composition writing. You have to, the higher you go and the more competitive things get or things become for you, you need to have more sophisticated range of vocabulary as well as sentences. Using complex sentences makes your writing more varied. Now, understand that what we mean by more varied, we need to have some kind of a range. You can't just say, last year I went to dash, last year I saw this, then I met XYZ. You need to have lots of information packed in certain space. So, you need complex sentences, compound sentences to add variety, okay, to that. So, it's all right when you to use simple sentences only when you are very unsure of your writing, but a more confident user of the English language will use structurally more elegant sentences. Now, there is always a catch here. In your frenzy to use complex sentences, please make sure that they are grammatically correct. Okay, they are not like run-on sentences. Many sentences are breathless. They go on and on and on, and then we forget how it started and how it ended. There has to be a nice coordination between the first and the last part of your sentence. That is called a good user, a good usage. So, thank you very much, and we will do more on clauses and particularly coordinators in our subsequent classes.